Hello, everyone. We will start the press conference for MKOI. First question. So from your perspective, what are the differences between Eastern and Western League of Legends, whether that's play style, infrastructure, or competitive culture? And how do you see those differences shaping the way teams prepare and perform on the international stage?
Okay, I will start. I will say the biggest difference. I think from the beginning you start to play versus really aggressive enemies. Like they want to pull it from laning phases, snowball through that. And yeah, I will say the early game is much more aggressive. You need to do more things. You need to be more ready and more prepared because if not, like the games will be difficult. And I will say that's the biggest difference for me between both regions.
I mean, I think first of all, like I think their culture in a way it's still like superior to us because I think they, in this sense, I think since they are growing up, there is always someone that can go into their spot if they don't try hard enough. So I think in that sense, everyone is pushing each other, and I think that's why there is always like changes, like roster changes in other leagues. I think, for example, LPL is I would say the region that plays the most aggressive. I think LCK in this sense they are more like slow, but slow and steady. But when you play into China, when you do one mistake, they always like get some reward from it, and they keep building the advantage. And I would say those are like the biggest difference, and that's why I think representing Europe, I think we need to put I think we need to show up and basically break this difference.
Next question from Mize Esports over to Alvaro. What do you see as the biggest change in your play style since your last international appearance at Worlds last year? Do you feel more aggressive or comfortable on stage?
For sure, I always feel comfortable. I think the only difference that we have in coming into this tournament is I think they have more experience internationally. But for example, I don't think anyone on our team is like nervous. I think I grew a lot as a player. Like for example, in 2024 in Worlds, I don't think I was any close as how good I am right now. And I think what I improved the most is how to put the vision, how to control the map, and how to coordinate as well. I think it's the three biggest keys that enemies does also really well, and they push you forward to actually be as good as them or even surpass them, because otherwise it becomes really hard to play them up.
Next question from Namin. In games 1 and 3, Koi kept finding angles to fight and going for team fights even when all hope seemed lost. Who's making the calls for your team, and who's keeping up the team's morale?
I mean, for example, in the Nautilus game, I was the one looking for this place because even if the game is behind, what we have trained during this year is the resilience. It's something that, for example, we are never going to give up. And I think that's an advantage that we have on enemies, because many of the enemies that we are going to face or we're facing in scrims, for example, sometimes they give up on the games. And I think, for example, it's important that things can happen in the game, but you need to stay cold-minded. And in this sense, I think we have an advantage on them, because even if the game one was really hard, because we were, I think, 13k behind, we almost come back it on one fight. And then on the third game, I think after the Nashor, if we don't go on the mid tower and we play the Drake, we can play it a bit slower. We could have taken the game. But yeah, I mean, this is already talking in the past. So, but I think I am calling. I think Jojo is calling as well. Depends on whoever has the engage or whoever is seeing the plays. Jojo Pune is also taking a lot of tempo on the sideline. So I think, yeah, everyone in their own way.
And so kind of following up on that question, after game 3 at match point, did it feel like the pressure maybe got to anyone? So clearly the games were winnable, they were close, but do you feel like maybe you guys got in your own heads at all?
I mean, yes or no. I think the last moment is pretty normal. What happened, we doubt a bit. I will say where to fight, and we discoordinate a bit. And I will say that the enemy con was way easier to play in that specific fight that we got catch. So we were kind of chill. I will say everyone believed, and I think we were doing it well. but these mistakes can happen, no? So I don't think it's about pressure. I think we manage well.
Next question, Alvaro from FD News. During Media Day, you said that most of the time you are playing against yourselves. So what are your thoughts on how you guys played against BLG today?
I mean, we always have this thought that we are playing into ourselves because I think, first of all, you need to beat yourself to be even be able to actually play into the enemy. And I think, for example, during this year, we had many times that the practice was not the best, that the attitude, I will say, sometimes it wasn't the best. So I think that's what I mean with like fighting ourselves, because I think if, for example, we are able to beat ourselves, we can be a really strong team. Today, I will say we played fine League of Legends, but we didn't really play something insane. I think we did plenty of mistakes, and you could even see it in the games that we lost. And I think also, for example, credit to BLG because they are a strong team. But I have no doubt that if we face them again, we will beat them.
Next question from Namin. In Game 4, when you traded Sol for Baron, did you know that you had a 5k gold lead at the time? Did a fight at that time just feel hard to win, or was Baron simply worth less than Sol to you?
I mean, we dropped the position, and dropping the position is really important for fighting. So in the moment we did the first mistake, that it can happen, is totally normal. We decided that Soul is much more easy. We will get another fight, and we were confident on that, and everyone agrees. So I believe that the most important is the position, and we prefer to play around that.
Yeah, I mean, they had the mid control as well, and basically their champions are really good on the midway because they can always like a QE Syndra, they can ulti us, so I think they can get some control, and what we should do is getting the flanks in this sense, and so they are not able to work up on us. But I think at one moment, as Supa said, we lost the control, and then it was harder, so we took the decision to go for a Drake.
Next question from Sons of KS. Alvaro, how would you evaluate your synergy with Supa throughout this tournament so far, and what areas do you think you both need to focus on moving forward?
I mean, since we came here to Canada, I think we have been facing better bot lanes as well and better teams. I think we have improved a lot on how we want to play both him and me on the map. Laning phase, I think there is, for example, today it could have been better. I think also it was harder when at level 1 it was like we had to max E on neutral. I started late on lane. So I think into LCK and into LPL, I think the biggest thing that we need to improve, I would say, is laning phase, because I think enemy also relies a lot on getting advantages on early. So if we can stabilize and be able to beat them or be even, I think it can be a really good advantage into them.
And final question from Namin. So tomorrow, G2 and Fly will face off with their tournament lives on the line. Who do you think will win the matchup, and why?
I mean, I will cheer for Europe because I think G2 will bring really good things. Anyway, I will believe that it's a series that is a 50-50 and will be decided on mental, who is able to perform the better one during the games. I don't know if it will be 3, 4, 5. I think we'll win, but I believe that G2 will be stronger.
I mean, I will cheer for G2, but in this sense, I think FlyQuest is slightly stronger, and I think also their players, they are more prepared when it comes to official. So I would say it's a 3-1 or 3-2 for FlyQuest.
And that concludes the press conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.